Jai Hind, friends. I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English. This is simply phenomenal. What India gives to the world is the greatest superpower of all, that is education, which is why there are so many countries that are saying, oh, build us IITs. Going crazy, it's at 200 kilometers per hour. You know, what do you need? This, write it, sign, approved, carry on, go, do this. Things are moving at that pace. Jai Hind, friends. I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English. Like this video, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. India and the UK are about to sign an FTA, a free trade agreement. Now, this kind of agreement gives special priorities, special access, special facilities to the person or the country that you sign the deal with. In this case, the UK and India. Now, what is India looking for? India is looking for special access into the UK market. India wants to exploit the UK market further. In the various things that India manufactures, it could be automobiles, it could be electronics, it could be software, it could be sending people abroad, it could be about our students in the UK, it could be about so many factors, right? This is a comprehensive sort of a deal that India and the UK are thrashing out and signing, and people are saying that it could be signed. It could be signed this year itself, because all the things in that deal are pretty much agreed to. There were a few anomalies that had been sorted out. Now every line item has been agreed to by both UK and India, and now they are ready to sign. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak of UK is looking forward eagerly. In fact, Boris Johnson, the previous Prime Minister, it was his dream to sign this deal, and because it takes time to hammer out a deal of this magnitude, and Prime Minister Modi, has been a very vocal supporter of this deal, and he wants this deal signed too. So what it gives India is a huge amount of special access into UK. And what does UK want to do? As far as India is concerned, UK wants to export whiskey, Scotland, Scotch whiskey. All of you know single malts. All of you fans out there. So this is one thing. Second is automobiles. Third is special kind of services, I think, which will include software for aircraft manufacturing, etc. Because UK also has a very mature defense industry, and this is going to encompass so much more. India is known in the world for software. Now, India is getting known for manufacturing also. But ladies and gentlemen, there is one thing that India gives to the world, which is outstanding. China can't give that. Russia cannot give that, right? Maybe America. Of course, America. But perhaps no other country. The number of American CEOs abroad in Fortune 500 companies. This is simply phenomenal. This is simply phenomenal. What India gives to the world is the greatest superpower of all, that is education, which is why there are so many countries that are saying, oh, build us IITs. What do you want? When Prime Minister Modi goes to any country and says, okay, what can India do for you? Oh, we'd like an IIT. Now, this is the new thing that is happening. Exporting of education, I don't want to use the word exporting in terms of manpower, but to explain to you what I really mean is that the kind of talent that India produces, because our education system, well, let's tell the truth here, it's extremely, extremely unforgiving. I mean, competitive, sure, even China's education system is very competitive, but in India, there are so many people from the middle class, so many young kids from the middle class. For us, maths and science is like football to the South Americans, It is a way out of your circumstance. And let's tell the truth here, it is a way out of... you belong to, let's say, a middle-class family. Mother is maybe doing some job, father is doing some job, or mother is a housewife, father is working. And the kind of expenses that your family has, the salary is barely able to meet. What is the way out for you as a kid out of your circumstance? It is just education, that's all. There is nothing else that you have. If you excel in education, you'll make it big in the world. Everybody's fortunes will change. All these guys that we talk about, Satya Nadella and, so many people. Ajay Banga is there. And all these guys, okay? Even Ajay Banga's father, though he was a general in the army, Indian Army generals are very moderately paid and they lead very humble lifestyles. They're not like Pakistani generals, or billionaires. Indian Army generals, they're very respected. They're renowned. They are loved, but they're not rich. The middle class people are generals. 2-star, 3-star, 4-star. These are middle class people with middle class values and with middle class lifestyles. So, all these people who are there, names after names after names after names. I mean, I can keep on taking these names. There are so many Indian names. I don't know which to say and which not to say. 99% of them are from the middle class. And they rose from there with the blessings of the parents. So this is what India is going to give the world. And this is what India will give to the United Kingdom also. We are also hearing about Oxford setting up a campus here. And the London School of Economics trying to talk to somebody in the government saying that we want to set up a campus, in India. You're most welcome. You set up Oxford here, we'll set up an IIT in UK. And we'll call it even, because IITs are no less. They're no less than anybody in the world or any other institution in the world. So this is what this partnership is going to do. In another thing, great thing that has happened is Semicon 2023 has taken place in Gandhinagar, where all the top bosses of the semiconductor industry, especially from the United States of America, from Taiwan and from South Korea, were there with Prime Minister Modi in Gandhinagar. And there was this massive function. There was this massive event in which a lot of top names, and I'll read out some of the names. But AMD is one such name, which is there. AMD said that AMD wants to immediately invest around $400 million over a period of a few years. AMD wants to do that. Secondly, you have Applied Materials. These are some of the companies. And you have other things also here. Let me just read it out to you. Yeah, so Micron and Cadence and Applied Materials and AMD, all these people, they came and they've spoken to Prime Minister Modi, and the boss of Foxconn also came, and he spoke something about the buffalo spirit. I don't know what that means. I'll have it deciphered. But he spoke about the buffalo spirit, and I think it probably means a never say die sort of spirit, but he spoke about the buffalo spirit, and he said that he says India and Taiwan are the IT of the world. That's what he said. IT means India, Taiwan. And this is what he wanted to say. And so very positive. Now, what do semiconductors do? Actually, we need semiconductors everywhere here. We need them here in this phone. We need them in our microwaves. We need them in our latest washing machines. We need them everywhere that we need those chips everywhere. They're also very important as far as our defense industry is concerned. And I'm sure Prime Minister Modi is also thinking about that when he speaks about semiconductors. Because where do we use semiconductors in the armed forces? Everywhere, right? Whether it's a gun position, with the latest computerized gun, you need a semiconductor there. Whether it's the Tejas flying thousands of feet, at I don't know how many miles per hour, you need a semiconductor for that. INS Vikrant, you need a semiconductor. INS Arihant, you need a semiconductor, which is a nuclear submarine. I mean, land, sea, air, you need semiconductor in most of the things that the armed forces use. And if you start making that semiconductor in India, after the US, after Taiwan, and after South Korea, India wants to become the fourth leader in the world as far as semiconductors are concerned. And they're going to do it in two ways. First of all, directly invite these companies and say that, hey, what do you want? You want a ready market? We have a ready market. You want land? We have land. You want talent? We have talent. You want money? We have money. You want a favorable tax regime? We can give you that. What do you want to tell us? And it's done. Come to India. Make in India. That is the speed at which this thing is happening. It's mind-boggling. For me, a guy like me who grew up in the 70s and 80s and 90s, it becomes very difficult to comprehend because growing up, I was not used to such speed. Things were always very slow. Here, now in India, especially to my NRI brothers and sisters, I'd like to say that it's like India is on steroids for some reason. Everything is going crazy. It's at 200 kilometers per hour. What do you need? This, write it, sign, approved, carry on, go, do this. Things are moving at that pace. In Uttar Pradesh, which was part of the Bimaru states, they used to call them Bimaru states, Bihar, MP, UP. They were called Bimaru states, as if they were unwell, they were sick. They were on ventilator at one point in time. That is what people used to say. They used to call them Bimaru states. Today, Uttar Pradesh is on steroids, for heaven's sake. I mean, The way Uttar Pradesh is progressing. We settled down in Noida in 1996. We used to have 16-hour power cuts in 1996, 97. I was still in the army. My parents, they purchased a house here. Initially lived on rent and then they purchased a house. And whenever I used to come back, I used to say, how do you guys even live here? Yeah. I mean, people were scared of going out on the road because there was murder, there was chain snatching, there was theft, there was dacoity, robbery. Today, Uttar Pradesh has changed, and I can vouch for UP because I live here. It has changed. It is supercharged. There is a kind of electricity running. There's a kind of this electricity running. And you know that positive things are happening, and they're happening right before you. You know, when Microsoft says that we want to open a campus in Noida, right? When there is a new film city coming up, when there is one of the world's largest airports being built, which is going to be inaugurated a few months down the line. You know, when all these big ticket items are, but this construction is happening, everything is happening at such a massive scale. You know, something is going on, right? And coming back to the semiconductor thing, all these big people, the big companies were there to meet the Prime Minister, and they are all coming to India. They're all coming to India, and India is laying out, that is what Prime Minister Modi said. We're laying down the red carpet for you. Tell us what you want. Just make in India. And I'm telling you from a defense perspective, because you'll say that, Major, you speak on defense and national security. What's with the semiconductor thing now? Yeah? I mean, why are you suddenly interested in semiconductors? Because as I mentioned, my friends, semiconductors have a very, very direct relation with the weapon platforms that India uses or India proposes to manufacture. Make in India becomes much cheaper and more efficient if we have a semiconductor ecosystem in India. It becomes much more efficient. It becomes much cheaper. Because we are not talking about, making basic stuff. We're talking about making advanced stuff in India. And somebody said, I forget the name of the gentleman, I think probably a cabinet minister, who made that comment that a laptop today which costs 1.5 lakh rupees will cost 40,000 rupees once you have your own semiconductor ecosystem. That is the kind of impact that is going to have on our lives. And then India exports it. India exports finished goods after the semiconductor thing happens. Exporting of finished goods. Our whole electronic ecosystem will undergo a massive, massive revolution, mind you. So this is what is happening, ladies and gentlemen. Now, China has, ladies and gentlemen, it wants to expand BRICS. BRICS is 5 countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Now, they want to increase the membership because what China does is China is looking at the SCO, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and BRICS because it is supposedly the top dog here, or at least that is what China thinks. And they think that they can own these platforms, they can subjugate the other member nations and create their parallel institution to rival that of the United States of America. Now, China has money. There is no doubt that China has money. China's economy is catching up with the United States slowly and surely. The difference between them is not very big today. Just a few $1 trillion here and there. But let me tell you one thing. This difference is going to widen because America is pulling out. Europe is pulling out. And every single national security paper in Europe, every single national security paper in the United States of America says that their primary enemy is China. The primary threat is China. And in 1998, this is exactly what Mr. George Fernandez, our defense minister at that point in time, this is exactly what he said. And people said, no, this man is, people called him insane. Said, this man does not know what he's talking about. Except that George Fernandez knew what he was talking about. And other people who doubted him did not know what they were talking about. All right? In 1999, he said this in 97, 98, I think. 1999, Kargil happened, and everybody said, oh, this guy does not know what he's talking about. Yeah, just Kargil, it is the Pakistanis who have infiltrated. The Chinese are quiet. But George Fernandez was a man with a vision. He could see decades ahead, and he said, today if the Chinese are quiet, they are quiet for a reason. The Chinese will wake up, and China will become your primary threat. Now, this is exactly what Europe and America are saying today. What George Fernandez said, 25 years back? 26, 27 years back? He said it then. And now these guys are waking up in Europe. You see, you can look it up on the internet. You can look up George Fernandez's statement. So this whole thing, about expansion of BRICS and SCO and all that. Now, BRICS, they want to involve Pakistan. China says in BRICS, you should... No, BRICS was for emerging economies. How is Pakistan an emerging economy? I mean, for what here? I mean, come on, have a heart. Pakistan does not even have an economy. And they're saying that BRICS will become BRICS. Now, whatever you involve Pakistan in, it starts sounding bad here. So here is the thing, ladies and gentlemen, right? They want to control it. They want their own version of the IMF. They want their own version of the World Bank. The Chinese version, they want their own version of the United Nations, something that they can mirror in front of the United States of America and tell their own people, say that, listen, yeah, we are going to become the superpower of the world. Except that it is the responsibility of the democratic world to contain China and to sort out China and ensure that China does not progress. And I would like to blame for China's rise. Who's responsible for China's rise? It is the United States of America and it is Europe. You wanted cheap Nikes? You've got cheap Nikes. You wanted cheap computers, cheap microwave ovens. You wanted cheap washing machines and cheap automobiles, and you have everything. Except that by asking for cheaper stuff, you've done two things. First of all, you've damaged your blue-collar workers. And most of the things are not made in America or made in Europe any longer. And number two, you gave business. That is still understandable to some extent, because you'll go where the cheaper stuff is available. That's human nature, And every corporate is responsible to its shareholders, to the board. The board is responsible to the shareholders. That's how corporates work. And that's all right. But when Europe and America speak about democratic values, you've got to put your money where your mouth is. You have not put your money where your mouth is. You keep on saying democracy. You've bombed countries, for God's sake. Yeah, you've bombed countries because we want to bring democracy to Iraq. Boom. We want democracy in Afghanistan. Boom, boom. Hey, Libya, do you want a taste of our democracy? Zoom, boom. You finished off the Middle East. You destroyed the Middle East because you wanted to bring democracy there. But you never wanted to bring democracy to China because you earned money through China. And today, the Middle East is bleeding. It's in chaos, right? And here you have China, the 800-pound gorilla in the backseat of your car. And you don't know what to do about China. This is the West's greatest misfortune. If you want to counter China, and I'm saying this time and again, like a broken record, I'll keep on repeating again and again. If you want to counter China, decouple from China as early as possible. Please consider it an emergency because China is going to gobble it. They've already bought Hollywood, right? They've bought much of the real estate in New York, in many of the important cities. They own your companies. Their research scholars are studying in your top universities, stealing your secrets, because after inventing paper and the gunpowder, the Chinese invented nothing. Everything in China is stolen. That is how China survives. At the cost of repetition, I'll say it again. China survives on contract manufacturing and stealing of intellectual property rights. That is what China is. And you have been careless. You've been giving China all your knowledge. Billions of dollars of research, you've just given it to China. Take it. And China has taken it. And today China is saying, we want to expand BRICS, we want to expand SCO, we'll get all our pet poodles like Pakistan and North Korea. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if tomorrow China says that North Korea has a different kind of democracy. Don't be surprised. Because they already call Pakistan a democracy, right? Do not be surprised if they say Kim Jong-un is democracy's last hope. This will come from China because China has the money to say it because you gave China that money. So this is, ladies and gentlemen, what China is trying to do. Now, Brazil and India closed ranks and they said no to China. They've pushed back China. And they'll continue to be together and push back China. But always remember one thing, ladies and gentlemen, China is going to come back again. And China will try everything that it can because China believes in the rule of one man. That is what China is. China is not a democratic country. China will try and harm every democratic country and try to take over land, salami slicing, right? Give bad loans to countries, then involve those countries in BRICS, like, for example, Pakistan, right? Give loans to so many countries. When the countries can't pay back, okay, you become a member of the SCO and you speak our language. China, tomorrow SCO will have 50 members. Because China has given loans to so many countries. It does not matter whether that country is worth its weight in iron or sand or whatever, it doesn't matter. It still has one vote in the United Nations. And this is how China will expand. And China wants to set up a parallel United Nations. China must be stopped. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, press the like button. Subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram, Bharat Mata ki Jai.